Good everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are excited to have you here today. My name is Lovett and I'm the HRO at Benfluxy Service Nigeria Limited. Please, we would like you to kindly use the comment section to comment where you are joining us from. Tell us your location and where you are joining us from. I would also like to introduce our team. We have our team on this webinar. We have Ms. Faith, which is our admission officer. We also have Mr. Osawaru Emmanuel joining us on this webinar. He's our manager. And we have our marketers team. We have Mr. Justice. We have Ms. Reward. We have Ms. Kesley, and a lot others joining us on this webinar. I also want to welcome every one of you. Thank you, Jude from ABBA. You are welcome. Thank you for joining us on this webinar. Okay, we'll not be wasting much of your time because our guest speaker is already on this webinar. So we would like to dive right into what we have here today. I'll also introduce our CEO, who will be introducing to us our speaker of today. She's no other person than Mrs. Hello, ma. Are you with us? I would like to hand over the floor to her to briefly tell us about and also introduce to us. Miss Peace, over to you, ma.
Good evening. I am so happy we are all here. Good evening, everyone, once again. I want to really appreciate everyone for joining us tonight. Despite our busy schedule, thank you so much for joining us. I am sure you will go back the same. I have a clear of journey to study in Canadian. You have more clarity, immigration works and all that. Sit tight as you would learn a lot from this webinar. It won't be a waste of time. I promise you. And we have our guest speaker here, like the HR likely said, guest speaker already, and I'm so happy to be using her. So the topic of this webinar, benefits and career opportunities while studying in Canadian College. Okay, Canadian College is a school that presents to you a lot of career opportunities and a lot of benefit as international student. Like I always tell people, Canadian College has immigrants at heart. Like they have immigrants at heart, they have international students at heart, and a lot of their curriculum suits so much to international students. All right, so with this being said, I would want to again appreciate the team for putting this forth and appreciate everyone for coming in tonight. Just as the speaker is speaking, take a pen and paper, jot down your questions. Okay, we'll give floor for questions and answers. So that you have more clarity on the journey you're about to take. And if you're already started, all right, because I know a lot of us here have already started the journey, you know what you are doing and the way forward and where you are headed. All right. So the chat box is there for you to type in your questions. Okay, we'll be attending to all questions. If we don't have much time for everyone to speak, okay, so we'll be using the chat box where I'll personally be going through the chat box, reading out the questions, and our guest speaker to also be looking at the chat box, reading the questions and giving answers to them. It's a great privilege for me to introduce our guest speaker, Ms. Miller. She's an immigration consultant. She works with Canadian College. She's the marketing director, and she has been a really, really great help to international students and to our company at large. Ma, if you can hear me, okay, kindly unmute your mic and take the floor now. Thank you so much, Ma, for coming. I really, really appreciate this great honor. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you. And can you please allow me to turn on my video because I will be sharing my screen? I can share my screen. That's fine. So, hi, everybody. Good evening to you. It's the morning still.
Good evening, Ma. Welcome, Ma.
still in Vancouver? Okay, so video. Hi, you can see me. Making time joining us today, this presentation. So my name is Mila and I represent Canadian College. I've been a student myself at Canadian College long time ago. I work there as a part of our recruitment and marketing team. So I go to other countries or I join webinars like this, and I work with a representative in each country, like Ben Floxy, for example, in Nigeria, to deliver the proper information to potential international students, people like you who are thinking, okay, what should I do with my life? Should I stay in my country or should I look for other opportunities, right? So, and I'm also a regulated Canadian immigration consultant because, you know, once you come to Canada, of course, you want to explore opportunities. When we first apply for a student visa, it is not, you know, the officers don't like when you say, oh, I'm going to Canada for studies, but also immigration. It is called a dual intent. It's completely a legal term in Immigration Act in Canada. However, when you're coming for studies, just make sure you have that plan in mind. Just, I'm coming to study, I'll be going back to Nigeria because I don't know which opportunities are waiting for me. Once you are in Canada, then Canada would love you to stay. And they say, as long as there are legal ways for you to stay, to extend your studies and your student visa, or apply for work visa, or apply for immigration PR, then they welcome you to stay. Okay? So I'll try to cover. I do like to talk. I like to share my experience and other students' experience with you. So I hope you will find this information helpful. But I'll also try to simplify everything, okay? So briefly about Canadian College. Canadian College is a private designated learning institution located, let me just share my screen here. Wait. Give me a second. Okay. Canadian College is located in Vancouver, British Columbia. It welcomes students from all over the world. We have so many different nationalities on our campus, and we are proud to provide proper education to international students. By students, I mean not only people who just graduated from high school, right, and are looking for colleges and universities, but students of any age, people who are looking for new opportunities, people who are looking for continuous professional development. Because in Canada, how education works, it's a continuous work in progress. You don't graduate from high school and run after bachelor's degree and master's degree and PhD. No, in Canada, we like to teach our kids and our students that continuous professional development is what's gonna make you a successful, respectful professional. So after high school, many Canadians don't even run after university degrees right away. They may take some part-time jobs. They may take some entry-level positions. We say for them to understand what exactly they want to do with their life, which area of labor market they are interested in, right? Of course, when I graduate from high school, I'm completely lost of what I have some, you know, preferences. Okay, maybe I want to take humanities or science or something else, but I guess since I was at that age too, many of young students don't understand, don't see a clear, don't have a clear vision of where I'm going to. I just want to study something and then I'll figure it out, right? It's a good idea to, because education in Canada costs a lot of money, it's a good idea to take your time. To take your time, try different, work for different industries and then understand for yourself, okay, business is business, IT, maybe IT, tourism is tourism or healthcare. To have it more clear for yourself, right? So that's what we offer to international students. A shorter 2-year, they can be post-secondary or postgraduate programs. It's a combination of study and work semesters. And then at the end of 2 years, you can decide, you can continue studying in Canada and get a bachelor's degree in one of our partner universities, or if you have opportunities to apply for a work visa, to have by having like a job offer with a Canadian employer, that's a great way to stay in Canada as well, right? Because we all study to get jobs, to get well-paid jobs, to do something we like to do. And by doing something you like to do, that's how you're going to be successful and make lots of money, right? So Canadian College offers programs in business management, in hospitality management, and in international trade, project management, IT, and social media marketing. So when you go to canadiancollege.com, you can enter any of these programs and get more information. So the most popular are diploma co-programs, which are only businesses for 1.5 years, but the rest of the programs are for 2 years. Then business management co-op certificate is for 1 year, which is part of the diploma program. And then we have shorter programs for 9 months, 6 months, or 3 months. Of course, you benefit from co-op programs by coming to Canada to both study and work. For example, business management diploma co-op, it's a 1.5 year program. The admission requirements are very simple. You have to have a high school graduation diploma, and that's it. Nigerian students are even exempt from meeting the language requirement, right? You don't have to take any English exam. And then the program is 3 semesters study, which is 9 months, and then 3 semesters co-op. What is co-op? It's a paid job. You can work for Canadian companies. So while you're studying for the first 9 months, you are allowed to work in Canada for 20 hours per week. When you're going into your co-op, you can work 40 hours per week, get paid, get all the benefits. Does Canadian College place you into those scopes? No. Our job is to teach you, right? To teach you, to give you knowledge, but also give you practical skills. So we will definitely teach you how to look for a job in Canada, what you need to do, how to prepare your CV, how to prepare your cover letter, how to do successful interviews, right? How to follow up with the companies, and how to talk about yourself. I just had, before this presentation, I had a immigration consultation with one of my clients, and he's a young boy. So he was very shy. I thought he was not eligible for any of immigration programs. But then when his parents joined and parents say, oh, he's volunteering here, he's working for this company, he's learning this, then of course his plan completely changed. The same goes when we are applying for jobs. If you're shy, if you don't know how to sell yourself, chances are you will get the lower paid jobs, right? But if you are proud of your previous experience already, your previous studies, with any skills you may add to the team, then you stand out among other applicants, right? So that's what we teach you. We try to teach you, we practice job interviews with you. We give you the feedback. So then lots of our students are very successful securing good jobs in the field of their studies. Okay, so these programs, they start every 3 months, January, April, July, and October. If you scroll, see the list of classes you will be taking: business math, operations math, and all that, right? And by completing business management diploma to the university to get a bachelor degree in business commerce. Okay, take another 2 years and you will have a higher education in Canada. So Canadian College is a private educational institution. You get student visa with work permit for the duration of your program. So study permit for studies, work permit for working during co-op semesters. You don't get postgraduate work permit after graduation if you study at a private educational institution. If you go to the public education institution, you get the postgraduate work permit. And the length of that work permit is determined by the length of your studies. So if you study 1 or 2 years, your postgraduate work permit will be for 1 or 2 years. If it's degree programs, then the work permit can be up to 3 years. Okay, so moving on. That's the business management program. We also have hospitality management program. Oh, going back to business, where do our students work? Office admin, sales, HR, accountants. I may have some noise at the back, I'm sorry. Anything related to business industry. Now, moving on to hospitality management program. Hospitality management program, again, we have 2-year co-op program, 1-year co-op certificate, and then shorter programs. This was unplanned. I'm sorry for the noise. So for a 2-year diploma program in hospitality, what do you study in tourism? You study how to be a supervisor at the hotel or tourism industry. You don't study how to be a front desk. You study how to be a front desk supervisor. You don't study how to be, you don't study housekeeping. You study housekeeping. Classes, supervision in hospitality, housekeeping management, front office operations, hotel accounting, facility management, right? So then you will be more employable to the supervisor's position at any resort in the world. And the program is 1 year studies, 1 year co-op, right? Same admission requirements, same start dates. Then international trade, logistics, supply chain management, right? 2-year program or 1 year with co-op. For 1 year co-op, it's 6 months study, 6 months co-op. So here we have this program, again, for 2 years, 1 year study, 1 year work. And you study how to send goods or sell goods between the countries, or how to provide services between the countries. International trade finance, sales and marketing, products and services of global market, human resources, economics, right? So these programs, not only you get Canadian College diploma, but we offer it with industry recognized associations in the field of these studies, right? So if it's international trade, we work together with Forum of International Trade Training. So they work with you on getting a designation as a certified international trade professional. And then they, as an association, support you with job opportunities or you know, the trends in supply chain management field. That's international trade. For project management, we only have a 2-year program. So 2-year program, again, same structure. This is a very, I would say, project managers make really good salaries in Canada, but they do require work experience, previous work experience, and they do value Canadian work experience. So this co-op will definitely be handy. You may not get a job for your co-op as a project manager, but you may get a job as an assistant project manager, right? And by gaining work experience in Canada, you will be moving higher in your career. Because I do have, I think she's even from Nigeria, one girl right now. She's been applying directly for project management positions, but she didn't have any luck for a few months. And she has experience in real estate in Nigeria. But I did tell her, don't jump only into like project management position. Humble yourself and apply for like assistant project manager, and that will help you get there more faster. Is this me? I don't think it's mine. Okay, so can somebody remove this? Please don't do it on the screen. Okay, so project management, you study to get a project management PMP designation, project management professional designation. Then we have IT program. So for IT program, we only have a 2-year program, 1-year study, 1-year co-op, or just 1-year study program. And this is mainly system admin program where you get this Cisco, CompTIA, Red Hat, Windows Server designations, certification. So it's nothing to do with web design or web development, anything like that. However, it's a good program for people who are new to IT industry overall, right? If you have experience in IT, I think this will be too easy for you. And the last one is social media marketing. Again, 2-year with co-op, 1-year without co-op. Social media marketing, how we sell products or push services online through any means of social media, right? This is a very practical course. So as part of your classes, you run campaigns, social media campaigns. You take a lot of interesting classes like marketing, e-commerce, mobile marketing, business simulator, social media campaign, digital analytics, all of those. It's also worth mentioning that our instructors are not teachers or professors by nature. They're professionals from the industry that they teach at Canadian College. So each of them have at least 10 years of work experiences in what they teach. For example, our instructor for social media marketing is a very experienced social media marketing professional. He has a few agencies internationally, advertisement agencies and social media agencies. And he works for a well-known company here in Vancouver as well. And he has time to come to Canadian College to teach our students. So you actually gain a lot of useful information from instructors themselves, or even sometimes you get references or referrals to jobs, right? Or at least to network in that field. So that's social media marketing. I will not talk much about like prices or anything because I do want to cover the immigration part for Canadian college students. If you have any questions about the registration or enrollment process, fees, all that, please contact Benfloxy team, and they have all our information. They're our recognized, trusted partner in Nigeria, and we appreciate their help, by delivering this information to each of you. Okay, so here I want to go now to my slide. So let's talk about the immigration part of this process, right? Okay, let's say I'm in Nigeria, I'm deciding to come to Canada to study, and I chose, let's say, a project management program at Canadian College. I applied. So first, what I'm doing, I'm applying for a student visa to come to Canada, right? It's I wouldn't say it's an easy process. It does require a lot of planning. It does require a lot of paperwork. And because that's your first application, the officers may not be quite nice, right? It's their job to double check all your documents and your status in your country, what you do, why you need to come to Canada. So when applying for a student visa, you are usually proving three main points: purpose, ties, and money. What is the purpose of you coming to Canada? Why do you need these studies? Can't you work and stay in Nigeria with the education that you have already? So that you prove by writing the motivation letter or statement of purpose, and of course by adding all the supportive documents. Number two is ties. What is holding you back in Nigeria? So what are the chances that you will not stay in Canada illegally, right? And usually the ties are emotional and economical. Emotional is when you have your family members. Ideally, if it's your spouse, kids, or partners. Economical ties, it can be your job waiting for you after you graduate in Canada, or family business, something like that. Property, and all the good life. And the funds. You need to have enough funds to come to Canada and pay for your studies, but also to cover the living expenses. Vancouver is not the cheapest city. It's one of the expensive cities in the world, but it's worth it. The level of life is really good here. So that's why it costs. So they usually ask you to have at least 20,000 Canadian dollars in your bank account for 1 year of living expenses in Canada. They do check your bank accounts. When you provide the bank statements for your student visa application, make sure you don't withdraw the money right away, because they have the authority to contact the banks and verify whether you have funds in that account or not. You are allowed to have sponsors. You're allowed to have somebody to help you with the money, whether it's a family member, parents, or friends. Okay? But make sure that you don't have less money in your bank account than your sponsor, because, what are the chances that the sponsor will give you the money? I will not talk about visitor or work visa much, because we are just covering the student visa. And as I told you, the student visa for public and private colleges or universities, it's the same student visa, but there are different opportunities. So public educational institutions, they do have high entry requirements. You may even will be asked to do the IELTS exam or something. Higher tuition fees compared to private. Limited program availability for international students, or I should rather say limited space, right? So that's why you may have wait lists, bigger classrooms, more, more students in the class. Private educational institutions like Canadian College, I told you the entry requirements are very simple. Lower tuition fees. For example, if Canadian College 2-year program is around 18,000 Canadian dollars, then for 2-year program, then a public education institution will have 18,000 for 1 year. So think about that. Private institutions like Canadian College, we offer payment plans, like semester by semester payment plans. And classes are smaller. Our staff knows you, all of you, our students, so all that. In terms of the student visa application, you get the same student visa that allows you to study in Canada and allows you to work part-time during studies. When you graduate, there is a big difference. You can get a postgraduate work permit after completing a public designated learning institution, but you cannot get a postgraduate work permit after graduating from a Canadian college or private education institutions like that, right? So that's the most important part, postgraduate work permit. Okay, and I'll go to my slide about immigration opportunities. I got my student visa. I came to Canada. I started my studies. I'm looking for a job, or I got even a part-time job. What's next? What if I want to stay in Canada? If you want to stay in Canada, you can consider applying for work visa after graduation. If it's not a postgraduate work permit, then you need to have a job offer from a Canadian employer. There are two ways of getting a job offer. Number one, it's called the sponsorship. It's called Labor Market Impact Assessment, LMAA, where the Canadian employer gives you a job offer and they prove to Canadian government that they cannot find any Canadian person to do that job. So that's why they want to hire you. Or you do, there's also another category, PNP. I'll talk about it in a few minutes. By getting a work visa, it will be, of course, beneficial to get Canadian work experience. Any of immigration programs in Canada require you to have skilled level work experience, meaning work experience not at entry-level positions or not at co-op, right? So it's a proper job. If it's hospitality supervisor, cheated in business, it's not the, not interns. And then your goal is to get the PR status, permanent resident status, which if successfully gained, you get it for 5 years. And after 3 years of getting PR, you live in Canada, you work, you pay taxes, you follow all the rules, you can apply for a Canadian citizenship. But with PR, you already have the same benefits as Canadian citizens. The only thing, you don't hold the passport, so you also are not allowed to vote for our government. How to get PR status in Canada? So we have this online points-based system that gives you points for your age, level of education, skill level work experience from Nigeria, from any other country, and from Canada. Level of English. Even if English is your native language, you will still be required to take the English exam. And then additionally, you get points if you have relatives in Canada or if you have that job offer from a Canadian employer. These points are assigned, the maximum points in express entry is 1,200, but we all get different points depending on our background. I can get 420 points, you can get 660 points. So that's how people compete for applications. We cannot directly apply for PR status. We need to be registered with Immigration Canada, and then they do the selection of the candidates with the highest scores, right? We do have priority occupations in Canada. So as of now, priority occupations are in IT, so in science, engineering, IT, healthcare occupations. Then we have French speakers, if you do speak French. Then we have agriculture, transportation, and that's it. The rest is general draw. So what do you need in order to create your Express Entry profile and be visible to Immigration Canada? And maybe try to be selected from the pool of all the people who want to do the same. So you need to do your diploma evaluation. Diploma evaluation you do for any of your degrees, let's say from Nigeria, you need to show what it is the equivalent of in Canada. So there are several organizations that do that. And then you need to take the English exam, IELTS or CELPIP General. But don't rush following the steps right now. This is more of the steps after at least your student visa is approved and you are in Canada. So let's talk about 3 main immigration programs. We have Federal Skilled Worker, we have Canadian Experience Class, and PNP, Provincial Nomination Program. So Federal Skilled Worker, it requires you to have at least 1 year, 1 continuous year of skill level work experience in your country or in Canada. For example, you can be a good candidate for this program if you have, let's say, a master's degree from Nigeria, 2 to 3 years of work experience from Nigeria or any other country, high level of English. Possibly we can check if you are really eligible for this immigration path. So, or even when you come and you study at Canadian College, we can evaluate your options for this program. And if you are eligible, we can apply for your PR, and you may even get your PR before graduating from Canadian College. A lot of people they do qualify for this program, but when it comes to those points calculations and getting into Express Entry pool, the competition is quite high, so they may be short of points. That's why we look for alternative immigration programs. So the second program is Canadian Experience Class. So this one requires you to have at least 1 year work experience in Canada. This one, so co-op is not count as Canadian work experience, so it cannot be accepted as work experience for this program. So that's why with Canadian College, your idea is to study, do your co-op, and maybe get the company to sponsor you to get work visa, and then work for that company for 1 or 2 years, and then apply through this immigration path. Or after Canadian College, you go to our partner university, like University Canada West, Capilano University, or many others. You get your bachelor's degree, get postgraduate work permit, work in Canada again for 1, 2, 3 years, and you will be eligible for this program. And the last few minutes from me. So the last category is PNP, Provincial Nomination Program, where each province in Canada create their own set of immigration programs, and they want to boost your points and your compatibility when applying for your PR. So I'll talk about BCPNP. Since Canadian College is in Vancouver, in British Columbia, I'll talk about BCPNP. So for BCPNP, as I told you, in Express Entry system, maximum points that the system releases is 1,200. Only BCPNP, if I qualify for this program, I get 600 points. So it's like half job done, right? And what do I need to in order to be eligible for BCPNP? I need to have a job offer from a BC employer. So, and that the best part here is that co-op is recognized as Canadian work experience in Canada. So you study with Canadian College for 1 year. You get into your co-op, you work for the company, and if they're happy with you, they can give you a job offer to say, we want to keep you to continue working with us. So what are the requirements to you to apply for BCPNP? You need to have at least 2 years of work experience in some field and, proper qualifications, good standing with that employer. Secondly, the requirements to the company. The company has to be an active business in BC for at least 1 year, and they need to give you a job offer. So see, the requirements to both you and the company are quite simplified. You may have that 1 year work experience from Nigeria and 1 year while you're doing your co-op. That's already 2 years. And in the field of the industry that you choose. So that's how our Canadian college students can stay after graduation in Canada. They do study, they go into their co-op, they work closely with their employers towards BC-PNP application. We apply for PNP during their co-op semesters. Approved PNP gives you a chance to apply for PR. And while you're waiting for your PR, apply for a 2-year work permit. Okay, so that's the overview from me. I know it's a lot of information, but I hope it's helpful. The only thing is you need to clearly understand what you want to study, what kind of jobs you will be applying, and then if you're interested, we can also do a one-on-one immigration consultation program, meetings, where I do have this service of assessing your eligibility for one of these immigration programs and making a good, solid plan for you in Canada. Okay? So I'm gonna move to chat and maybe Q&As. Give me a second. Does Canadian College render financial aid to international students? No. Canada in general doesn't give any opportunities for financial aid. As an international student, you are responsible for your funds and finances. So if we are talking about financial aid, you need to get it from your country in order to study overseas. Because remember, financial aid is always based on something, right? You get the benefit of for what you want to do. So financial aid is usually either from you or your family paying taxes or something. So not in Canada. You are, as an international student, you are new to Canada. Canada doesn't know you. So Canada doesn't have any ways of helping you financially, right? But with Canadian College, you do have the chance to pay for your studies semester by semester. So the next one, after the visa is being approved, which route is best to go through to Canada? And also, is there going to be someone from school to help students get to school easily? Do you mean like how to get to Canada physically? How to fly to Canada? That's not my area of expertise. You just book your flight and come to Canada. At Canadian College, we do have the service of meeting you at the airport, also helping you find accommodation in Canada. So we do have that. Is there a chance that a student can be asked by the company he worked for to stay back in Canada after completion? Yes, but I also mentioned that it's not only that you are being asked by the company to stay, but the company has to go through the application process, right? You need to, first, the company needs to prove that they couldn't find any Canadian person to do that job, and then you apply for the work permit with that company. Does Canadian College offer scholarships? If possible, what are the requirements? We don't have any scholarships at the moment. As I said, we do offer semester by semester payment plan. And if you look at our tuition fees, they're not as high compared to other educational institutions. So you need to keep that in mind. Okay. And if you have any other questions, let me know. I don't see any other questions, so okay, maybe here. Can my friend from another country pay for my tuition fees? Yes, but when applying for a student visa, you need to have money in your bank account. So your friend can transfer money, let's say, directly to school to pay for your studies, but also maybe another amount to your account to show that a friend as a sponsor promised to help you financially and they already transferred the money into your account. What's the initial deposit? The initial deposit, you pay 350 registration fee, which is non-refundable, and 5,000 Canadian dollars. If your student visa is refused, then you get the deposit back, 5,000 back within 30 days. Only 350 is non-refundable. Can my spouse be a sponsor? Yes. I have my admission last year. I thought to resume 2024 January, but I was unable to pay my tuition. Is my admission still valid? Yes, your admission will still be valid. So just email me and file it. Okay, can I study? Yes, but type of jobs are available and whether you need to have a PR status in Canada to work in those jobs, right? I do have a few students who did criminology. We don't have it at Canadian College, but now they work like they do like social worker jobs and many other. Okay, let me check how amount did I need for my account. So as I said, how much funds do you need to have in your account to apply for student visa? It's a very specific. It's a very specific question, so it depends on all your application file. Okay. How much is the dormitory? It's around 1,000 Canadian dollars per month. Okay. Okay, one more question. Have you had a situation where your co-op student didn't get a co-op placement? If yes, maybe just a few, but usually the employment success rate is at 95, 96%. Why? Because if you are unable to find a co-op place yourself, you work with one of our advisors one-on-one who helps you, maybe check the applications or the jobs you're applying for, maybe to look into other positions as well, right? So you do get support. is accommodation shared apartment. So at the student residency, you have shared or single rooms. Single is you by yourself, shared with another person. The accommodation at the residency is available only for 3 months, and then you can get you can rent a place with other friends from school or any friends you know, or maybe even Ben Floxy students in Vancouver or any other students, right? And that's how you split the cost. Is it necessary for the applicant to still have money in their account apart from the sponsor? Yes, it's a must. Because how do I know if the sponsor will give you money or not? On average, how much is the rent per month for a room in Vancouver? If it's a room, it may be anything between 500 to 1,000. If it's an apartment, let's say a 2-bedroom apartment, can be 3,500, 3,000. So you take 3 people, 1,000 each, right? Living cost in Vancouver is high. It is true. But the salaries are also high. So okay, we do have 2 more minutes for questions, and then I will wrap up. Thank you, Ben Floxy team, for having me. Canadian College doesn't have PGWP. No, as I said, it's a private education institution, so there is no postgraduate work permit. Does Canadian College have hostel for students? Yes, we do. And I did tell that we do have that for shared or single rooms. Is PGWP allowed to postgraduate students? If no, how can one go about it? I mean, if the person want to stay, how can someone do about it? I just talked about it for 20 minutes. So, or you get a work visa with a Canadian company. So I just covered it. What's the guarantee of someone staying back after school? There is no guarantee. You don't know until you do it, right? So it's up to you to work on your plan. After study, can someone go back since there is no postgraduate work permit? Yeah, if you just want to study, get your diploma and go back to your country, you can, or you can work actively on another plan. There's this message from some agent that Vancouver or BC is rejecting applications due to too many applications being received. They said about 90% of the applications are being deliberately refused because of the population. How true is this? If your application is genuine and you have all the documents in place, there's no reason to refuse it. If it's incomplete or if it's not genuine, there's lots of refusals I saw for not accurate documents, or there are different ways of calling that, but everything needs to be truthful. How much is the tuition fees? I talked about it. It's around 18,000 for 2 years. How can we get this recorded Zoom video? You contact Ben Floxy team and they will share it with you. Can a friend be a sponsor? I already said yes. Okay. I will not repeat the answers to the questions that I covered. Okay, so it looks like that's the most that we covered. Thank you for having me today. I wish you a good evening and I hope to see your registrations online, and we will be in touch, right? If you have more questions, you can even email me. It's Mila@Canadian College. Last question for today. Can your spouse stay with you at the Canadian College hostel? No, it's only for students. It's not for families. Do we still have full resumption? Yes, we have the next intake next week, but then after it's October 1st start date, and you still have time to get student visa by then. But if you don't get student visa by October, you will just push your start date to January. Okay. Thank you so much for having me. I will finish right now, and I will be in touch through the emails.
Thank you so much, Ma. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you. You gave a lot of justice to the questions that were coming in. Thanks a lot, Ma. And I'm so sure they appreciate you too. Thank you so much, Ma. For those asking about the recorded version, okay, we will share it and you would listen again and get more clarity to the questions, because most of the questions you asked, she actually answered them during her presentation. So thank you, Ma. God bless you so much, Ma. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming for the webinar. Thanks for staying till the end. I really appreciate you. All right, so we'll be drawing the curtain from here. I want to say a very big thank you for everyone again. I really, really, really do appreciate us all for the questions and for really for having us, and we for having you. Thank you so much. Good night. If you have more questions, okay, for those still around, if you have more questions, you can always meet your marketer, okay? They will do justice to all your questions. You can meet them. Then for the webinar recording, we will definitely share it once it's available.